All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. Ramy, good morning. Thank you for
Good
being here.
morning.
And I'd like everyone to introduce you to Sammy Vanek. And
Hello.
he's joining
Hello.
us today from his YouTube channel. And I'm going to read his bio here so you can learn a little more about him. Sammy Vanek is a human who woke up to his passion for helping heal and co-create a new earth. He runs a YouTube channel, an online community for overwhelmed and incredibly gifted sensitivities, and works one-on-one from his heart. And there's much more to come from him, and we'll watch to see it. And he gives his YouTube channel connection and his website and the community. Also, that's called school.com, or is school the platform it's on?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's on school.
Uh-huh. So it's
Mhm.
called Unitive Collective. Beautiful.
Yeah. Unity Collective. Yeah.
All right, very nice.
Yes.
And I forgot to ask you ahead of time, did I pronounce your last name correctly? Is it
Yeah,
Vanek or Vanek?
there's not really a right way. It's Czech, and so Vanyek would be the actual way, but usually we just say
Vanek.
Vanek. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, nice, nice.
Mhm.
And so, Sammy, I've been following your channel and watching regularly for many months now, and have seen it grow a lot in numbers. And I
Mhm.
just love what you do, connecting with trees, because I'm big on trees and connecting with the universe in general and nature. And so,
Mm.
could you please tell us all, like, your story, how you came into what you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks for asking. Well, it's funny because what I want to say first about trees, because this is like the first video that I released that went viral, or the only video that went viral so far is that tree video. And the channel was started as an experiment to see what comes out, what lands and what works. And so that was just something that came through spontaneously, that I was actually feeling super vulnerable about that video. I was like, should I even release this video? And that was the one that, to my total surprise, just took off. So so I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm a tree. I'm like not only a tree guy, but that's a part of the elements that's coming in to speak through me and move through me and connect us, are these tree messages. And there's also other elements that come in. But yeah, sorry, that was a tangent. But
No, no, that's good. That's a good start. Yeah, just whatever,
yeah,
wherever you want to go from here is good.
but yeah, I mean, basically, my story. I mean, I'm laughing when you read my bio because Sammy's a human. I wrote that to you. I'm like, I always laugh. I laugh at what I wrote in the past about myself. It's like, that's
Sure.
funny. Yeah, so I'm a human, and I often, when I was growing up, felt like I didn't belong here. I felt I was in a group of friends in high school, for instance, and they all seemed to know how to talk to each other, and they could banter, and they could just have this connection and this flow. And I was just standing on the outskirts, feeling terrified in my body and trying to hide it most of the time, and felt like I was just didn't belong. And so where I went for solace, like true safety, was to art and creativity, which both my parents have in different ways. And so they encouraged me and allowed me to express myself and explore, including with video. Video has been a part of my life, kind of woven throughout. And I even went to college and got a degree in video, never expecting that it would come out in this way. And so back in 2010, I was I was just still feeling that isolation and that aloneness, and I was 21 at the time. But something was shifting, and I now see it as I was able to see this little tiny part of me was a glimmer. There was like some light. There was something inside me, and I didn't know what it was, but it showed up one time in our group of friends or whatever. I just said something that was funny for the first time ever. And it was like, whoa, it just came out. And I don't even remember what it was or any details about it, but I remember that feeling of, whoa, that just happened. And then it just locked, and then I was locked back into the normal, like, scared. But that did something. I was present that there's more to me, and I don't know where that came from, but it's here. So I sought it. I went out to seek it, and I started getting into different kind of books that came my way, and I traveled internationally, and just piece by piece started unlocking that there's more of me in here. There's this lightness, there's this light that is more than the me that I thought I was, and it's flowed out. And I'm at a phase in my life now where it's flowing in a beautiful way, in a surprising way.
Very nice. Yeah.
Nice.
And I think that that feeling of aloneness is really, really common. I know I felt that way.
No, I felt that way.
And so I'm guessing a lot of people do, and it just doesn't show. Maybe they're better at putting on a front or something, or maybe we have a front so they think we're good on it too, right?
I've gotten that image before. It's like all these humans on Earth, all in our own little fearful bubble, trying to but thinking everyone, but we're all in the same. It's amazing. And when you said that, it's like, yeah. And what happens when we speak to that and express that with each other and find ways to communicate that?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Nice.
that's what I have found, that in my spiritual work, that our deepest soul's desire is to know our oneness with the whole, right? With as that's how I see God, or universal spirit, as the whole energy. And I feel that it's like a magnetism that pulls us toward the whole, the parts to the whole, and it pulls the whole to all the parts. I mean, it works just like our energy does, bidirectionally. And I feel it so strongly at times.
Yeah, I love that. I feel that sense too. Like I remember one time years ago, because I've gone through many years of I had this vision of what I could become. And then these many years of just suffering and knowing what I could be, but I failed, and I'm too depressed and I'm too anxious and I can't go and do this thing. But one of the times that I was doing a meditation or something, this word, and this is off of what you shared about this magnetism, right? This calling, this mutual calling that's happening. And I wrote down the word inevitable. Inevitable. And to me that meant, and spoke to me as, I can't mess this up. There's no way that I can remain separate forever, because there's a magnet. Like, we can take our roundabout ways and we can have our journeys, and we are. And there's no way that love isn't the ultimate, that's a word to describe an ultimate goodness that I long for, that we long for.
Yeah, I think that's the magnetism, right? The love. Just like my business name is Ancestral River, and I do ancestral clearing, and it's like that river, although it's actual streams of energy that's found on either side of our bodies, in our aura, or our biofield, that has been dubbed the Ancestral River. That's DNA, but it's the love that connects all, that is that river, between generations and between all the parts of the whole.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love the river imagery.
Yeah.
It's really resonating.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you didn't notice the connection with trees first, then? You were like working just with nature in general, or the universe in
yeah. Good
connection?
question. Yeah, how did that come about? So part of the gift that I got on accident in my training, the universe offering me training,
Yeah.
was to lead me to where I live now in North Carolina. And where I live, there's a big community around this thing called authentic relating. And there are different modalities. Like, authentic relating is an umbrella term. Within there's many different modalities to practice. How can I be more real, feel more connected genuinely, and share what's more truthful? How can I explore skills in communicating, basically? And so that has incredibly influenced me, because before that, I probably would have just been talking about general spiritual insights, and not had this like deep connection, this actual humanness, that element that's in it. So the YouTube videos, when I started, my strategy at first was to go outside with my camera, with my mic, and record something. Put the camera there, record something, just enjoy myself as much as I could, or just flow or trust the process as much as I could, including the B-roll, which is, a shot of me dancing, or I feel inspired to get a close-up of this ant, or look at this, like just following my inspiration and letting that be the guide. And I often got off track. I often, okay, I need to do this and that and that. and that was stressful, but also helpful, because there are certain things I wanted to include from the rational perspective. And so that's really how the experiment was led, is through inspiration and noticing as best I could. Again, I failed at this a lot, but what is actually inspiring me to record here and to say on camera as well. So I would just flow with something. I'd edit it in usually a synchronistic and magical way, and then release it, and cool. But the tree video, I mean, interconnectedness is kind of woven through the fibers of my being, and that's part of, I think, my medicine, and the essence that I am connected with is, it's all, here we are, this tree's here, we talk a lot. And so that day that I recorded that video, I was actually the third video I recorded that day. In the space of a couple hours. And I'd gone out with the intent to record a video, and I was feeling I'd put a lot of energy into those two videos I had done before, making it all fancy and, trying to get a point across, and like putting a lot of myself into it and energy. And then I was just sad and tired. And as I was sad and tired and just kind of empty, I was walking and found that fallen tree. And it just, in the space of that emptiness and that sadness of loss, like, I'm failing at YouTube. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing this wrong. I'm trying so hard and nothing's happening. I saw the tree and had a real moment with it, and then decided, okay, I'm just going to record. I'm just going to sit here and record. I'm just going to sit here and record one more. And by then I was just, whatever, like, I'm not holding anything. I'm not trying to do anything here. I give up. And so it was with that energy that I was speaking.
Surrender.
Yeah, it was a surrender. I was surrendered quite naturally. It wasn't like it wasn't a conscious choice. I give it more like I give up. I give up resonates more, but surrender was, yeah.
Surrender's too nice.
Yeah, I gave up.
I gave up.
Yeah.
There's more of a battle feel to that.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a battle.
Yeah. And then look what came out of it. Yeah, beauty, right?
Yeah, and that, right? Yeah.
Surrender.
Surrender. Yeah, give up. I surrender. And then I went back to the tree, because I had already had the experience off camera, like with the tree. And so then I recorded the video, and then I was like, maybe I'll just throw this out right after. I don't know. But like, okay, I don't know. I'm going to go back to the tree and just reenact. But it wasn't just a reenactment. I actually felt the things I felt again on camera. So that was special. And I got to reconnect with the tree again. And then I was editing it at home, and I was watching it. I was like, oh my God, this is like, I'm so clumsy. It's my face is like too my face. Like, I was just really self-conscious about every part of that. And then I released it, and I just couldn't look at it. when I went away for the weekends to actually a healing school weekend that I'm in. Didn't look at it at all. Didn't look at YouTube at all. I was just feeling pretty miserable about it, or just forgot about it really. And then when I got home, it was 4 days later, and it had like 50 views, which was like lower than average at the time. And then I got more depressed and just like given up. I gave up more and like, but whatever. And then I don't know what happened, but yeah, it started blowing up, and then it was getting 10,000 views a day for over a week. and all the love and the comments were just what it was doing to people and how they were being so truthful. I read the comments as being so truthful, so honest, so heartfelt. And that changed me, and that changed everything.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It kind of goes with what I've learned in my life. I used to have lots of regrets for, failures, right? Or things that especially for all my own junk, my old patterns that I passed down to my boys, right? But it was like, I've come to realize that, well, all that was learning. And if I hadn't gone through all those painful times, I wouldn't be where I am now, fully expressing my individuality, that connection that I feel now with everyone. And so I think it's important for all of us to see it not as failures, but as our school, right? Our learning curve, and it's all good. We have all of it is good for and because the universe works for our spiritual good, right? That's our highest good. When you say for the highest good of all, that's the highest good, right? Our spirit's connection with source, with spirit, right? And so all the universe works for that end primarily.
Yeah, I'm hearing that you've used to think of yourself as having all these failures, and now you've kind of seen how they made you what you are, and I get a sense of like there's joy in that for you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Nice.
From years and years of sadness and fear, basically. I mean, other things too, it all comes in droves, like unworthiness or not feeling you're good enough or can't do enough, or all the stuff that comes with that mindset of lack. Feeling that separation from source creates the mindset of lack within us, and then it comes out in different thought patterns and different actions, right? And when in reality the mindset of God or the mindset of source is the abundance and love and free will, versus the mindset of lack and control and manipulation that comes with that.
Yeah, I also want to add that like this this like play of like there's a book called Existential Kink that I'm looking at right now, and it's coming into my mind. It's like, if we're having all this pain and this suffering, and it's when I'm in it, I mean, I remember very vividly, not that long ago, a couple of years ago, of not being barely able to leave my house. I was sitting in my car. I was just going to go to the gym and go in the steam room. And I could barely even start the car because I was so scared, anxious, and my mind was just in this loop. And what got me out, like what had me start the car, was, see, I was making music at the time. I wasn't doing video. I was focusing on music production, and I love music production. It wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't building this creation fast enough or at all. So video is. So I'll return to music. But I was creating a lot of music at the time. And the project I was working on, one of them was a dark and deep album of music with beautiful, rich, deep, sorrowful piano and intensity, like intensity. And I listened to one of the songs in the car, just was sitting in my driveway here, and I put on one of the songs that I had recently completed called Hate Love. And it's dark and it's beautiful. And the lyrics, I don't know if I'm gonna like get them, but something about just the hatred and the grief, like bring it on, bring on the grief and the hatred, give it to me more. I hate you, give it to me more. Something like that. And that got me sobbing in the car because I was met by the universe, because the universe made that song through me and through my experience, and then it met me where I was at, and we got to cry together. And I broke, and I went to the gym.
Beautiful.
And so I'm like, what if we love this? What if I love the hatred? What if I came here for that?
Yeah.
To play in that, and then have an experience, and then evolve through it, and then look back at hatred with such love. Look what we did to each other. We hurt each other. We killed each other. And that's how much I love you.
Yeah. Exactly. So actually your piano started before your video, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, who's to say, but I mean, video, what happened first? I mean, I was doing video when my dad had this giant, I just released a video of my dad actually, and we talk about this, but he had this huge shoulder mount camera, and we'd take it on when I was like 9, he would just, here you go, record something. So I did. So I got into video, as a kid. But in this most recent iteration, I call myself a composer. I release, man, it's just, I love it. I love it so much. The music that comes through me. It's not just, I mean, I compose on the piano, but I have everything from, the kind of track I was talking about, which is really intense with bass and very vivid and like moving and stirring and distortion, just deep. And then I have stuff that's really beautiful and soft and gentle, which is out. I have some stuff on Spotify and whatnot that's really gentle and soul opening and gentle. And then I have some albums that are in the works at some point that are more like hip hoppy and like just hilarious. Some of them are so funny. I have a song called Biggest Baddest Cotto about an avocado journey. And it just comes through. Like I mean, back when I was producing, I'll show you my keyboard. I'd have my keyboard and I plug it in to my laptop here, open my software and just and then some song will just come through me and I will have no idea what genre it's going to be. And I'll grab the mic and I'll just, and these amazing lyrics will just hit me and just circle back and yeah, it's beautiful. I don't know what happened, but I'm really blessed with whatever it is that comes through me and is able to meet me creatively. It's such a gift.
Cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. I'm also aware that we just had like a really emotional experience and that we shared that, and then I kind of just took us over here. So I want to honor all that as well.
Oh no, that was good. Lighthearted.
Yeah,
that was good too. Beautiful. So, could you talk more about what you talked about in one of your latest videos, the tree one that was out this week, right? Or the end of last week, where the message from the trees?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love to. And it's funny because after the first tree video, I was like, okay, I'm only got to focus on tree. Like that was like a brief thought. Like, no, it's not. It just wasn't coming. It just wasn't coming. So I did what I just followed my guidance. But yeah, this last video is called something like "Trees are using my platform to connect with you. Here's the message," something like that. And that felt like a very honest title, while also being engaging. Yeah, I was. What do I want to say here? I went to the mountains recently, and I spent the night up in this beautiful, still area. I usually camp by water, and so there's the sound of water, but this time I camped just in this utter stillness of this forest, and there's pine trees, so they form a big canopy, and there's really nothing growing on the ground except for this gorgeous, just vivid green moss and mushrooms just popping up everywhere, and pine. So it's very quiet, very dampened down, and just super still. And I made, no, I didn't make a fire. I asked, hey, can I make a fire to like, the environment? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, let me try again because I want to make a fire. Can I make a fire? And I got this like, no. And I'm like, well, but can I make a fire? No. I'm like, okay, all right, fine, no fire. So I didn't make a fire. And I recorded a video that time as well. That was a different video. That was a few months ago. And then I went back, and this was a couple weeks ago, to that spot, or a slightly different spot. And I asked this time if I could make a fire, and I got a yes. I made a fire. And I was also writing that night. I'm working on a book. Not to add too many cool things I'm doing, but I was writing a book out there by the fire in the woods. And I started channeling the tree unexpectedly. I just got this, I'm connecting with my heart right now. So it's coming through the heart. And I was sitting there looking at this one tree, and I just got this, I don't know, something. It came in. And I wrote all about that. That's what I wrote, that chapter. And then the next day I recorded the video. But basically, yeah, it came in, and it came in also in different points along the way with the dying tree video, that look what happened here. I released this video that I was super self-conscious about and had no idea it would do anything. And it actually was this tree who was alone in the woods, and probably no one else, possibly humans, acknowledged ever in its lifetime. And now it's famous somewhat. Like, it's what brought this energy together. It opened the heart. This is how I see it. It opened this energetic connection that people, so many of the comments were, I thought I was alone in loving trees. I thought I was alone. I thought I was alone. This tree just made me cry. I thought I was alone. So here we are, not alone, discovering that through this being, and through my reception and my being used, in a way to convey the message. And I've lost track of your original question, but I think it was talk about the last video and like what.
No, the message from the trees.
The message from the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't even remember what I said. I know I will in that video, but oh yeah, they want to connect with us was the message, basically.
And it had something to do with just like people, like we are waking up, that the trees were waking up too.
Yeah, that's right. It's not just the human collective. It's not just our hearts opening. It's the entire planet, and the rocks, every single part of this planet has its own level of consciousness, and each of it is rising to the next octave, including us. And so what is it like when I walk through a forest and my heart is actually feeling, not just pretending I'm feeling or like wanting to feel, which is all cool too. It's all good too. That's a stage. But what happens when I am actually immersed in the interconnection and I can feel the soft hum of communication that we are, that connects us all. I'm getting a little bit of chills. Yeah, and that there's this the ask of the trees and also the water. This came to me too, and I don't have a lot of information on it yet, but it's coming through. Is the trees, their request for us is to look at them, see them, interact with them, and see what they really are, or at least imagine what are you really? Not an object, not just a stationary object, but a being with aliveness and divine spark. Because the trees, a lot of them, this is what it told me, and this isn't gospel, this is just a perspective, I want to say, is that a lot of the trees are sleeping, so to speak, just as we are, just as humans are. They're sleeping. They're conscious, but they're in a dream state. And so what happens when the forests start to wake up out of their dream state? And how does that expedite our awakening from our dream state? Yeah, it's just a beautiful.
Yeah.
I keep seeing the infinity loop as well between us and trees. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, I came across trees unexpectedly too. It was like I had started my inner healing journey, and it was like I heard a podcast talking about, and the people did ancestral clearing, I guess, of the land, and they had said that the tree holds the emotion that the land feels, and
Oh.
and that the land feels what the people feel, just the people on it as well as the collective around it.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I ran outside and said, well, I wanted to try to hear this, right? And so I put my hands on the tree and just focused on that. I tried to just clear my mind and sit there in the present moment. And it was like all of a sudden I was smiling. The tree was happy. And so a week or two later, I tried it on a different tree, and it was like I just went kind of, so I wasn't thinking of anything, and put my hands on the tree, and it was like I was laughing.
Yeah.
It's like the
Wow.
tree was giggling, and it was so fun. So then I started asking the tree for messages for me, and receiving uh so much spiritual wisdom, and as well as physical analogies to things, or to help
Mm.
me understand different
Mhm,
things.
mhm.
Then these messages would come through the trees. It was so cool. Yeah, and it
That's
still does. It still does.
yeah, that's exactly what I mean, that to me, that's exactly what I was just saying. The trees ask is like, just connect with us, which is what you
Yes.
just did. And you giggle and you laughed and you felt the laughter rising through the tree. Like, that's it.
Yes.
That's wow. That's confirmation for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I Trees are just wonderful. Um,
Mm.
I grew up on a farm, and my mother still lives there, and I go back, and there's these over 100-year-old cottonwood trees that line the driveway, and it's like they're starting to die, or they're half dead, right, or more. And it's like, so I go and place my hands on one, because I just love them so much from
Mhm.
being present in my life all these years. And it's like
Mm.
I said, I'm just so sorry you're dying, and
Mm.
the tree said, I'm old. I return to the earth. All is good.
Mm. Mm. Ah, yeah, that's so soothing to hear. Yeah, there's a peacefulness. That was what came through the dying tree video too. And my connection with the dying tree was there's a peacefulness. It's like, oh, death is not negative. It's just hi, here we are.
W- Yeah, well, and that goes along with what you'd said earlier about how, um,
Mm.
we're on this journey, and we each go on our own, weaving around in our lives, finding our path. And
Mm.
what I have found with ancestral clearing is it's like what you had said. We're on that path, but if we don't learn what we need to learn now as we're in our physical bodies, our path continues after death. And the ancestors, I feel that over and over and over, they're on their path, and until
Mm.
they get to what they need, until they're ready to go back to the next realm, right? To where everything is the mindset of God instead of the mindset of lack. Then they stay in this
Mm.
grayscale form. They stay in nature around us, and
Mm.
so our path doesn't end at death, right? There's no wrong, right? Because it keeps going until we get where we're supposed to be.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. The continuation, the journey that keeps more iterations to experience.
Yeah.
And who knows? Like I've read so much about death. I've remembered 2 deaths of my own, and including the crossing over. I have vivid memories of that. And still, yeah, what is it? What will this one be like? I can't know. And yeah. But something about the tree message is just this, there's a softness to it that calms my system about it, about the not knowing. Because it's what a threshold, what a threshold to cross.
Well, and I think that trees, like all of your videos, have that calmness to them. I think, and it's really the tree energy or the universe energy, if you want to look at it that way. But it's right. It's so strong when you tune into it. Right. It's so deep and strong. And the bigger the tree, the stronger the energy is. And it's just calm and strength.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Some comments I've gotten that really feel good about the videos are, I feel peace, or I feel, a sense of peace watching these videos, which makes me want to make a more exciting video. I mean, I don't know. Some of them are more like, they're all different. They're all different. They're all different. And I like to play a lot. Some of them are very serious, but then I always like to play. I like to bring in the elements of play whenever I can, because I think that is a gift that I like to be and experience. Oh my gosh, the joy, the play and all of it, the contradictions. I can play in the contradictions. So yeah, maybe I'll make a super hardcore, like intense video. Plant that seed.
Very good. Rami, do you have any questions for Sammy?
Questions? No.
Impacts, or I'm curious what's happening for you.
Oh, I love trees too. Yeah, I connect with them. I haven't asked them questions, so I might start. Yeah. See the tree behind me? That's a sculpture my daughter found. There's a tree on that bulletin. I just love tree. I have trees everywhere. I love them. Yeah. Ever since I was a little girl. Yeah. I had my best friend and we had a tree that I called her Hootie Booty. And we would talk to her, and I didn't like dogs. I was afraid of dogs. And so I would go in the tree, and she would hold me, and I would be okay. And the dog would run away. But trees. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. And then when I went to Yellowstone Park, the sequoia trees, oh my God. That's what it feels like. So beautiful. So beautiful. So old. You can feel their history. You can feel their wisdom. They're just beautiful. Just gorgeous trees. I like trees. I like, I don't know all the names of them, but, and when I was at the East Coast, there'd be these ancient, older trees, and they'd sit closer to the ground, and their branches you could sit on them. That's how close they were to the ground. And they would just come out so differently than the trees here. Yeah. Trees.
Yeah, such diversity and
it's just beautiful. And in Colorado, those thin ones that are pale in color.
Oh my gosh, the eyes were on here in the forest of eyes all looking. And then the yellow leaves in the fall. Oh my God.
Yeah. And then, of course, my favorite time of the year is fall when the trees change colors. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
Did you ever write a song to a tree?
No, I don't think so.
I
don't think so. Yeah, hasn't come through yet. I've mentioned roots before. Yeah, I think I know I have a line around roots. Our roots connected strong. Yeah. So yeah, perhaps it'll weave in. I'm not making music right now. I have I have 15 albums that are in various stages of not completeness. 15 albums.
Wow.
So,
That's a
yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So once the business part of this creation is like becoming sustainable, then it can actually fund the creation of the music and finding the right people to help, because there's pieces that I don't have yet that I need help with. So I'm just trusting the whole. Here's what I asked the universe. I asked the universe because there's so many parts to what I want to create. There's so many different diverse parts, and I want it all. I don't want to not have a one piece of it. Music is a big piece. I want to make crazy, awesome, diverse music that sounds so good and is professionally mixed and mastered and recorded and as one of the pieces. And so I'm like, yep, that'll come. The wheel turns and it's going to be a part of it. So yay.
Beautiful. Now, in your music, I'm not going to get it right because I don't remember quite, but I do know there's 2 different hertzes, right? So and it was changed back in maybe the 30s or the 1940s. The hertz that everything was recorded in was changed to, was it 440 instead of
440 is what it's standard now.
the standard. So the original was different, right? The original was maybe 430 or something. I'm getting it wrong probably, but the original, you can listen to it and it's not just calm. I mean, because it can be busy music too, right? But it doesn't say like the music that they use now kind of sticks in your mind over and over and over like a sometimes, right? And you just want to get rid of it and you can't, and it just. But that's what the new hertz does. It puts you in a more of the fight or flight mode in your mind instead of the underlying groundedness of the original hertz. And I didn't know if you had looked into any of that or not.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to answer that. I'm also curious, have you experienced that? Like, do you feel a difference when you listen to those different hertzes personally?
Do I?
Because people have different responses to it, So I'm just curious about like if you've heard or felt a difference.
Well, I feel the difference in that it doesn't stick in my mind. Like, I mean, say like when I work, predominantly I like quiet. Like if I'm working outside, some people like to have a radio blaring all the time. Well, I just like quiet. Or if I'm working on my desk, I just like quiet instead. But so a lot of the music just sticks in my head and then it's there all day, or it keeps me awake at night. Whereas with the original hertz doesn't do that. Now I have to say I haven't, because I like quiet, I haven't listened to a lot of the original music, right? And so I haven't yet found, I guess because I haven't listened enough, found the style of music that I would really like.
Yeah. I'm hearing the 440. So it's 440, and you're talking about, I think, 432 hertz.
Yeah,
there's infinite hertzes, but those are 2 of them that are like
Right.
talked about a lot. There's also
Yeah.
444 and 7 something, and different frequencies.
Hmm.
And I've definitely heard that as well. And I've had an interesting journey with it. I would compose entirely on 432 if it was easier. A lot of my instruments in my software don't convert well.
Right. Yeah.
So it just doesn't. So I just 440. It sounds that's it. Like that sounds great. 432 is
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, that's like it's kind of muddy. So it's partly a software issue, I think, for me to actually produce 432. I literally the last EP I accidentally made an EP like a few months ago. It's lovely, and it's just bells and bass and a little bit of drums, very quiet, very gentle. It was a I didn't know this till it was done, but it was a tribute to it. It was a healing for my baby self, my inner baby, not my inner child, my inner baby.
Hmm.
It's very healing. And I tried to make that in 432, and then it couldn't. The synthesizer I was using wouldn't translate over. So I do my best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious more about that. And I'm curious what 440 sounds like when we're in a new octave. It's relevant if it's relevant or if it's
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting.
what
Yeah.
it does. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and this goes back to piano. I mean, I grew up playing the piano all through my life, basically. But it was like I was learning one time. There was a lady who'd done her master's um, in piano studies or something, and she had studied how the old harpsichords used to be played, and which was like the what piano came from, I guess, or the old style of piano.
Yes.
Um, Maybe harpsichord isn't the right word. But anyway, so I'll raise my hands. She found out that they would sit higher. The bench they sat on was higher than our standard piano bench. And so it put their arms at a downward slant into the keyboard, and it allowed the fingers, because they were at that slant, they could cover more ground and move a lot faster. And so she played several songs on this recording I was listening to at the with the new style, or I should say the very old style of play versus the modern style of play. And um it was definitely a different tone, different style, because it was faster and lighter and inspiring, like so I didn't know if you'd heard anything about that.
No, but what's coming up is this theme of, ancient how things used to how it used to be done, and then like there's like maybe a distortion or like a change that might be in service to other energetics or other experiences. Like 440 is an experience and 432 is an experience, and we're certainly in an era where there's this, control. We're playing in this control energies. I'm controlling over you, and I'm trying to gain power over
Mhm.
you, and I'm being controlled by this system and whatever. And yay, we're here
Yeah.
playing in that, and maybe everything reflects that in some way. And there's this like, what was
Maybe.
before that? Is there a version? Of course there was. It's like infinite reality, but was there a pristine version of Earth where this spaceship system was everything was all needs were met? I've heard, okay, here's an example. I've heard that one perspective on ancient humans that we don't hear about is that there were these ancient civilizations, like for Atlantis, for instance, or before Atlantis, and the calendar days, right now we have like 365 and a half days or whatever it is, and our months are 31, but then we have to skip things every once in a while, and it's very 24 hours. It's all very complicated. Where it used to be very precise. There was exactly 28 days. There was 13 moons per season, per month, and it was all just perfect. And I could just breathe in air and receive nutrients. I can drink water and receive nutrients. I didn't have to eat nearly as much. Like all, from everything. That's the interconnection. That's the perfection of. And then there was some kind of events or some kind of energies came in. They're like, hey, let's have a distortion here. Let's play with distortion. Let's push it off its axis a little bit or whatever it was. I want to play in that. I want to know. I want to, on a soul level, I want to know that. Let's create that experience for ourselves and let it play out for billions of years or whatever it is, or lifetimes, and have that knowingness as source. I might have spun out of context there, but
No, I don't know. I I guess I toy with thinking about different ideas. I have two thoughts about what you're saying, but it's like, yes, do we, like, as a whole, say that's what we want and we go into it, or
mm,
because the mindset of source or the mindset of God is free will and abundance,
mm,
and it's free will because it's abundance, right? There's no need to control it because
sure. Just
it has all
here
its
I
needs,
am. Here we
right?
are.
There's
Yeah.
no fear, right? I am. Yes. And so
Mm,
it's like, do we go into those distortions because of certain individuals' free will, and then the rest of us, the universe uses for our highest good, right? Or do we,
mm,
as a whole, all want that? I kind of tend toward it's
mm,
certain people in the
mm.
mindset of um, lack that take all of us there more.
Nice.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I love those two perspectives. And I'm like, yeah, both. Cool.
Could be. But talking about ancient things, this I wanted to ask you too, just to see if you had noticed.
Mm,
And you might have seen it on YouTube because there are different people that talk about it online. But there used to be the giant trees.
mm,
Like now, a lot of the giant trees kind of look like a straight up flat top mountaintop.
mm,
But when they get close, it really appears that the geometrical patterns
mm,
of the like the cut surface or the flat surface has much different geometrical
mm,
design that would be similar to what plants would have instead of what a tree would have.
mm,
And I meant, no, that's a tree versus land. I'm talking wrong. Um,
mm,
that a tree would have versus land would have, and that the roots of these giant trees were full of gemstones like diamonds, not yet diamonds and gold and silver and things that are mined today. They were basically in the roots of these trees underground. And I have been in vision a lot in these trees and around these trees and being given information about them too. And so find that I had my own information before I learned other people's information about it, and
mm,
realized how similar they tied together. That, but talk about what we lacked, right? What we used to have in ancient times versus what we lack, that we don't have now, that take us into the experiences we that are always working for our highest good, right? To evolve the planet and
mm,
back to where it used to be, hopefully, and or better. And so these giant trees were, they pulled up the energies from all the crystals in their roots or in the ground and broadcast them into the air. And like, I do biofield tuning, which is tuning forks in the
mhm,
human aura or biofield, and it was like these vibrations coming out the leaves of the trees
mm,
were tunings for us daily if you wanted them,
mhm,
right? If you tuned into them, it
mhm.
could clear your aura of all these old stories daily. So they didn't build up like they do now, since we don't have the trees and since knowledge was lost.
Mm.
Right. What
There's
do you think?
what's coming is there's so many amazing miracles that I can't even consider that we'll experience in this in my lifetime, and then our generations, like as this planet starts to come back into harmony, come and with even more wisdom, with even I see it like we went into the deep dark, and like just like I was talking about, I went into the deep dark talking about my being in my car and going through those years of depth. Like I am more because of that. So what happens when
Hmm.
we awaken through these miracles, and we have trees with diamonds and gold and under them,
Yes.
broadcasting rainbow energy through them, and animals are like, we're in the same resonance as the force, so the animals just walk up to us and we can pet them and be with them and communicate with them, and they're bringing us food, and we're just having like this interconnect. Like, what else can I not think of? It would be amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, ooh, that feels so good. Yeah, to think of it, how much more it can be because we went through the darkness. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And what is this like?
So
What is the
cool.
beauty of this struggle and this, and the intensity of it, and also acknowledging that it's real. Like, the intensity is very real right now for so many of us, for all of us.
Yeah,
Being real about that.
for sure. Hey, Sammy, in the last few minutes we have, would you want to
Yeah.
talk about like your website or your what you offer for people and your community and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. This is where I get nervous. Yeah, I'd love to. So I was called to start a community, for one. That's a big part of this, and the reason is that I was noticing on my videos, there was so much love in the comments. There was so much truth being shared. I mean, people were sharing stories about themselves, honest stories that were so real on YouTube and a public platform like that. That's so vulnerable. And so I was seeing this potential and this need for, okay, the comments in YouTube is beautiful. Can we actually have a space that we have a private container to do this work, to share, and also to have language to talk, to share with each other? How do I respond to you when you share something vulnerable without giving advice or just making it? Because when I have a lot of communication training too, and so I know I have a lot of experience with what's it like when I share something that's vulnerable, and then I'm just given advice, or it comes back at me in just a way that isn't quite as connective as it could have been. So the community is about that. It's about bringing us who feel a lot, who are in resonance with whatever energy these videos are creating and my energy is creating or coming through me. And it's a space for us to connect. And we teach a little bit of communication skills, and we practice them. And we practice also non-hierarchy. I'm not like the leader, I am in a role of holding the space in a certain way a lot of the time, and I'm a participant. So yeah, that's on School, and it's called Unity Collective, and I'm sure there'll be a link below. And that's right now it's $12 a month, but we're gonna go to 24, which will be the normal price as soon as we hit 50 members, which could be any day now. So do check it out when you get a chance if you are interested. And then I also am called to offer one-on-one sessions at this time. So that looks like, I'm gifted with an ability to be with you in whatever way that is, and we can move things together by letting it, by being in contact and practicing presence with each other, and amazing things happen. So if you're interested in reaching out to me and you want to resonate with me in like that specific way, I'd love to get an email from you on my website, sammyvanek.com.
Very, very
Thank you so much,
nice.
both of you. Yeah. I appreciate you both so much. This has been really fun and enlivening, and I learned a lot. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot too. I'm sure Rami did. And I just wanted to say, to listeners, I was just so excited to have Sammy on in September now, because the equinox is this month, and I'll be soon starting my emails and other things geared toward the Friend a Tree Week, which is over the equinox week, to encourage everyone to talk about what we did, or to experience what we talked about today in feeling and connecting with tree energy. And so look forward to that. And so we'll end for that today. And Sammy, thank you again. And thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.